right, good morning, everyone. I am Misty. This is Dinner on a Dime, and I'm trying to get comfortable. I'll explain here in just a second. I woke up this morning, and apparently I have messed up my back. I don't know what I did. The whole right side of my back is just like tensed up and hurts, and so I actually took some ibuprofen, went back to bed this morning, and that didn't really seem to help. And so even just swallowing a drink makes my back hurt, and so that's awesome for today, but that's okay. We're gonna get through it. We're gonna film a video, and it's gonna be fine. All right, it is just so you know what time frame I'm recording this. I'm recording it in advance for you guys. I am trying to what I am calling front load some videos so that as I return back to the workforce and I don't know what my recording schedule is going to be like, it gives me some freedom to figure that out while videos are still routinely going out to you guys. So if you notice that on the channel, like that I have a whole lot of videos front loaded, that is why, because that way I can continue to record when it works well for me, and I can figure out what new work life is going to be like. So when I'm recording this video, it is November, mid-November. Man, guys, they keep saying it's supposed to get cold here. I'm in Texas. It is still in the 80s. The other day we went to a car show. It was supposed to be cold. It was 90 degrees. And so we are still not having any wintry weather yet. We'll see when and if it rolls in. Tomorrow is my first official day back at work, so I'm super excited about that. As you know, if you are a returning viewer, I was laid off in September from my job in the oil and gas industry, and so I am moving into a new job tomorrow. So maybe in the next video I record, I'll talk a little more about that. So today we're going to talk about 10 extreme grocery saving tips that you can try going into the new year, going into 2026. What are some, maybe not the basic entry level grocery tips, okay? So we're not talking use your coupons. We're not talking shop the sales cycles. We're not talking any of that. We are going to talk some more extreme ways that you can save money on your groceries in 2026. And so these will not be for everybody. I will go over them. I will tell you how I feel about them personally as we go through. And you guys feel free to let me know in the comments which ones you would be comfortable doing and which ones you wouldn't. So make sure to like the channel, make sure to subscribe, ring the notification bell. That really helps me out. It really does help push the videos. The more interaction I have with the video, the larger the audience gets. So you guys, even just hitting that like button and that subscribe button will help me amazing, okay? I would really appreciate it. All right, so number one is follow a strict 3 protein rotation, okay? Find your 3 cheapest proteins in your area and only work with those. Only rotate those 3 protein sources, okay? So it recommends 2 non-meat sources and 1 meat source. So eggs, beans, lentils, then a cheap protein like chicken breast, ground turkey, whatever you can find that is cheapest in your area. I say it recommends. There's no it recommending this. It's just I looked up what the cheapest protein sources were in the area, because following the rule of 3, you are trying to stick to only 1 meat protein source and the others being cheaper options, okay? The goal here is to only eat those items on rotation for a period of 30 days. So you kind of bulk buy up front enough of your 3 protein sources to get you through an entire month so that you stay out of the store and you only rotate those 3 protein sources. Okay, so let's talk about how I feel about that one. I think in theory, that's probably going to be really hard for my family to do that. Okay, my family is like your average American meat and potatoes type of family. I don't think that they would really want to eat, especially 2 out of their 3 meals in rotation being from a non-meat source. It might be fun a little bit, but especially on a broader 30 days, I don't think my family would stick to that one. But I do see the value in it, that if you could stock up on like your clearance protein, like, okay, chicken thighs are on sale, I can stock up on that. Pork chops are on sale, I could stock up on that. And then look, I found this bargain deal on hamburger meat, great on the clearance area. Maybe I could bulk buy 3 meat sources and rotate through those for 30 days. But even then, I think I would struggle. I think I would struggle with sticking to a meal plan that's based only on 3 items. So you guys let me know how you feel about that one. Number 2 is bulk cook an ingredient and then use it all week, reviving it and changing it up daily. So what this is saying is you're going to cook one time, like on Sunday, and you are going to bulk prep one item, something like rice, beans, chicken, and then you are going to use that ingredient in every single meal for all 7 days. Okay, why do this? Because it reduces your cost, because you are bulk buying it at the beginning of the week. You're not going back to the store. It reduces your prep time because you're doing it one time, and it reduces your waste because you are using it every single day of the week until it is all gone. I do see some value in this one. I think it would be interesting to do. Again, I think my family would have a little bit of trouble dealing with the routineness of it and no variety in it. So I would have to make sure that I did something that I could really get creative with. And what I mean there is maybe I would do chicken, because I could bake a whole bunch of chicken and shred it, and then I could use it in different ways throughout the week, because chicken's very easy to reinvent into something else. But if I did something like rice, that would be hard, because there's only a few things my family will even eat with rice in it, and it would be really hard to get them on board with eating that one thing throughout the entire week. So let me know what you think of that one. Number 3, bottom shelf shopping, where you are only allowed to buy items that you find on the bottom shelf of the grocery store. So once a week or once a month. It's probably recommended that you do once a month if you're doing extreme grocery savings, okay? Staying out of the store, reducing chances to buy more things. Only shop for items on the bottom shelf, remembering that brands pay for placement, eye level shopping, right? The brands pay to be there. We are only going to shop the bottom shelf. That is where we are going to find the cheapest items, and we're only going to buy these and use just strictly those items plus what we already have at home. So that's all we're allowed to shop for, whatever we find on the bottom shelf. And you could say top shelf shopping too. Top shelf is usually the same as the bottom shelf, okay? We're just staying out of that middle where the brands pay to be placed. How do I feel about this one? I don't mind this one so much, because I have no problem shopping generics. I have no problem shopping unknown brands in order to try some things and save some money. So I personally would not have any problem doing this. Plus, I have the comfort in knowing that I have some things in my pantry to work with already. So it would be easy to merge those items in with what I already have. All right, number 4, stop buying drinks. Only drink water. You only need tap water. You don't need any other type of drinks. Now, if you have bad tap water, here's what I will say for that. I don't like the tap water in my area. It does not always taste very good. I do have like a water filtration thing in my refrigerator, and I have a Brita water pitcher. So we just utilize those things to make our drinking water just fine, okay? But you do not need to buy juice. You don't need to buy sports drinks. You don't need to buy sodas. You don't need to buy tea, coffee creamer, all of those things. You don't have to have those to survive. So remember, this one cut in your grocery budget alone can easily save you $80 a month or more just by cutting drinks out of the budget. Now, how do I feel about this one? This would be a no-go in my house, okay? Again, I've talked about this before. I'll touch very briefly on it again. I had a stomach surgery in 2021. They had to remove 80% of my stomach. It left me with a lot of intolerances for food. It left me with a lot of not enjoying a lot of things. I will tell you, you just saw me show you a Mountain Dew. Only my stomach surgery was in 2021. In 2025, I've finally been able to have a Mountain Dew and actually enjoy it, because before it left me with extreme bloating issues, and it left me with like acid reflux and stuff like that. But Dr. Pepper is my one treat to myself. And so I would rather find another way to cut that money out of my budget and allow myself to continue to have my Dr. Pepper, because it's the one thing that I get to enjoy anymore. So if it is your one thing, I'm not going to tell you to cut it because I'm going to tell you try some of these other tricks and tips before you get to that point. But can you just live on water? Yes, you can. I've done it. From 2021 to probably 2024, water was primarily what I drank 24/7. Finally, in 2024, I finally got to start drinking some coffee again. I finally got to start drinking some soda again. And trust me, I would have a hard time cutting those. Okay, I'm just gonna be honest. All right, number 5, pantry shop only, either for a week or a month at a time. Okay, so you know the size of your pantry, you know what you have in your pantry. If it's easy for you to do this for a week, then do it for a week. If you think it would be easy to do it for longer, stretch it out longer. Take it as far as you can. Like, set a goal for a month and then just see how far you can make it in the month without going to the store and buying anything. So the rules of this would be that you buy absolutely nothing. Sorry, my nose is itchy. Except milk, eggs, and fresh produce. That is it. That's all you get to buy for the entirety of whatever the challenge is that you are going with. So you are going to be pantry shopping, you are going to be freezer shopping. What this is doing is it is forcing you to use your own items first. It is forcing you to shop your pantry, your fridge, and your freezer. Only utilize the items that you have on hand, okay? If you don't have it, you have to learn to cook without it. If you don't have what you want for the meal you wanted, tough. Guess what? You are going to make something else and you're going to eat something else. And the rules are you have to stay firm with that. You can't cave to yourself on day 4 because you really wanted XYZ for dinner that requires chicken thighs and you don't have chicken thighs, and so you just go to the store and buy it. No. The rules of this is you have to stay with this for the entirety of at least that week, okay? Then if you discover, okay, I really can't take it past a week, fine. Do it just for a week. I would do it for a month because I think I could do it for a month, okay? All right, number 6, master 2 to 3 what they call poverty meals. So a poverty meal is a meal that costs under $1 per serving for people in your house. And then 2 times a month, you cook those poverty meals. So if you master 3 poverty meals, maybe at the beginning of the month, we're going to cook 3 poverty meals, and then halfway through the month, we are going to repeat those 3 poverty meals, okay? This is going to help you to greatly reduce the amount of cost associated with a meal. Now, this one would be a little hard for me. Okay, I'm going to tell you, I currently cook for under $10 a meal anyways. I'm cooking at $2.50 a serving for my family of 4. It would be really hard for me to cook a meal for under $1 a serving that everyone in my house would like, okay? Some ideas of some meals though: rice, eggs, and soy sauce, okay? You can make a quick meal out of that. The second one's not so bad: beans, tortillas, and salsa. I think I could do that, and I think my family would be okay with that. We would probably swap the salsa for cheese, and then butter, garlic, and pasta, just to make a quick butter pasta. Again, we could do that. It's just, that would be such a major mind shift for my family, and we're already cooking on a very low budget as it is, that I just don't feel the need to take it any lower than that. But it depends on your life circumstances, right? If I was brand new to living on my own and I was making minimum wage, then yeah, I would learn some poverty meals and I would work them into my budget. If I was, a mom who's recently gone through a divorce, or a dad that's recently gone through a divorce, and I've got kids at home and I'm trying to figure out how to make things work, that's what I would go to. If I was living through a situation like we've had recently where there was a government shutdown and people couldn't get their benefits, absolutely, I would go to those poverty meals and I would start making what I had to make in order to make things work. Okay, so not afraid to do it, just not something I would choose to do routinely, okay? Number 7, only buy from clearance markdowns for at least 2 weeks of the month. So what I'm saying here is, I've told you before, go shop the reduced areas of your store, but this means that's all you're going to buy. Okay, you're going to go in the store, you're going to go to your reduced areas. So your reduced dairy, your fruit and veg markdowns, your bakery markdowns, your meat markdowns, because they're all perfectly fine to buy, Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We are only going to buy things that have those reduced stickers on them, and then we are going to work those into our meal plan for 1 to 2 weeks per month. Okay, we are not paying full price. We are not paying 100% of the cost of anything for at least 2 weeks out of the month. Okay, now how do I feel about this one? I love this idea. Okay, I love it. The problem you're going to find is if you go to the store and they don't have the items you like marked down. Okay, well then you're going to have to learn to use what is marked down and learn to get happy with it. Okay, the other thing is maybe you go to the store and what do you do if there aren't any meat items marked down? Okay, and this maybe means you're going on the wrong day of the week. So I would do a little prep work on this one. I would figure out in my store, because some areas only have one store, right? I would figure out when those markdowns occur so you can make sure you're in the store at that point, and then you can stock up on what you need for that week. Or if you want to do 2 weeks of it back to back, can you stock up on it all at once? I'll leave that up to you guys, but I think this is a fun challenge. And in fact, it is something that I'm thinking about doing maybe in my own household in 2026, is maybe at least 1 week a month, just stopping in the grocery store on my way home, going over to the meat markdowns, finding something that's marked down and going home and cooking it. The problem is with me being an hour away from home for work is by the time I get home, if there's not any meat markdowns left, then what am I cooking for dinner? So I've got to determine the rules in my head on where I'm going with that one. Okay, number 8, eat the exact same meals for 5 days per week. Okay, why would we do that? It's routine meals. It cuts the grocery cost and complexity because you're just buying all of the same item, right? So if chicken breasts are on sale that week, we are buying only chicken breasts to prep for the week. We are going to prep 5 servings. If I'm a solo person, I'm going to go ahead and cook my rice. I'm going to cook my green beans, and guess what? I'm going to lay out 5 servings of it, and boom, my dinners are done for the week. Now, you need to do the same thing for breakfast and lunch. Don't forget about your other meals. But basically what you were saying is, okay, every week on Sunday, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to cook Monday through Friday's meals in advance. I'm going to prep them up, and I am going to eat the same thing Monday through Friday. Then the next weekend, I can change my meal plan. Okay, so this week I'm having breakfast burritos, tuna sandwiches, chicken salad sandwich, whatever for lunch, and my chicken and rice for dinner. Then next week I'm going to make like a frittata, and I'm going to have, trying to think of some good lunch meals, vegetable soup, and then for dinner I'm going to have, barbecued pork ribs with a baked potato. Whatever it is you're making, you're going to eat that for 5 straight days. And then, like I said, you're only going to change up your meals once a week. How do I feel about that one? If it was just me I was cooking for, I would be perfectly content with that. Okay, I would. I can be a routine creature, creature of habit, and I would have no problem with that. Again, my family, not so much. They would look at that as I'm eating leftovers every day, and they would not enjoy that. And I would have a lot of blowback on that. Now, would they do it if they absolutely had to? Probably, but there would be a lot of misery in my house because they're not like me in that aspect. And so that's one that, say that my family went out of town, because they are planning on potentially going on a trip in January that I won't be going on because I have work now, and not a good thing to turn around and be off as soon as you start working, right? So, there's a chance that for at least a week, possibly 2 weeks, I'll be home by myself. And so don't be surprised if in that 2 weeks, this is the type of cooking I do, because I don't care. I'll just zap it and eat it. I don't care. Okay, number 9, use the half meat method. Okay, so what is the half meat method? I've had a couple of people ask, okay, if I was making this meal for a bigger family, or how could I stretch this meal, right? This meal that you made. So one way to stretch it is the half meat method. So if a recipe calls for 1 pound of meat, you only use a half a pound of meat instead. And then you stretch that meat by adding in lentils, beans, vegetables, rice, pasta. You bulk up the volume of that meal so that you only used half of the meat that it called for. This is an automatic cost reduction of 50%. You're using 50% less meat. Now, of course, you've got the cost of, whatever you add in with it, but I can get rice and veggies and lentils and beans and all of those things super cheap compared to what my meat cost would be, right? So use the half meat method. I do this sometimes in my house, usually if it's something that I'm going to add beans or veggies to, or a sauce, like because it's going for pasta. The exact meat measurement in it doesn't matter to me. All right, number 10, build a minimal pantry and rotate through it every single month. So what you are going to do is you are going to stock the same 15 to 20 items every month into your pantry. You are going to rotate through only those items. You're only going to buy those items. So no impulse spending, no picking up extra ingredients because they're new or exciting or look good or whatever. You're going to stick to your 15 to 20 items that you've determined you can use through multiple meals throughout your month. You will then be able to quickly know when your best price points are happening for those 15 to 20 items because you're routinely buying them and stocking up on them. How do I feel about this one? I can kind of go both ways with this one because I'm an ingredient-based pantry as it is, but I have a lot more ingredients than just 15 to 20. But the beauty in this is being able to quickly see what you have and what you can work with. When you scale up that pantry like mine, I would say mine's almost like a chef's ingredient pantry, right? I have so many things to work with, which is nice. But you do find yourself kind of going to those same routine items over and over again and not using some of the other things that you've brought in over time. And so you have to be aware of that. You have to constantly work through your larger pantry, where if it was kept to 15 to 20 core items, you can develop that routine and that knowledge of those items and how you can spread those items and how you can use them over multiple things. And that is something that is missing in my pantry because I have, I don't even know how many ingredients I have in my pantry. It's big. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying that because I love it and I can cook anything that I want to cook. But I do tend to forget over time, like, oh, I should probably be using some of this stuff more frequently than I am because we are all creatures of habit, right? And so we gravitate to those same comforting items that we use over and over and over again. So I hope that helps explain that a little better. All right, guys, that is it for today's video. So 10, what I would probably term more extreme grocery saving tips, right? Not the average ones that we normally talk about. So again, let me know in the comments, how do you feel about these tips? Is there anything that you would do? Or is there anything that you're like, I would never do that in a million years? Or do you have what's more of an advanced tip, that maybe we've not touched on in any of our videos that you would like to share with the group? Feel free to leave that in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.